It is the start of a new week. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to The Marketplace. My name is Charles Ayete. Here's what's coming up in the bulletin. Ghana attracts foreign direct investment worth $2.7 billion amid COVID. Already, global giants are rooting to establish presence in the country. But could this be a vote of confidence in the business climate of Ghana? We'll engage the Ghana International Trade Commission as Executive Secretary. Frank Ejikum is on standby for us. Also, the size of Ghana's economy expected to hit $70 billion this year, firming up our position as the 8th largest economy in Africa. Plus, the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana renews commitment to sanction members engaged in unethical accounting practices.
We've withdrawn certificates. We have, suspended people, and particularly those who practice. We've issued all kinds of fines and penalties, so we've been doing that.
We have all these coming up shortly after this break this day. Hello and welcome. Now, the size of Ghana's economy is expected to jump from $62.8 billion to hit $70 billion by the end of this year. Now, that's according to Fitch April 2021 West Africa Monitor, of which Charles Nixon Yeboah has more in this report.
This will translate into per capita income of $2,206 in 2021 from $2,020 recorded last year. However, the Ghana Statistical Service will this Wednesday release the actual growth rate estimate of the country for last year. Also, the total value of goods and services produced in the country is expected to go up by $5 billion to $75.5 billion next year and further to $83.2 billion in 2023. This will firm up Ghana's position as the 8th biggest economy in Africa. The economy is forecast to hit 4.5% this year, with all the sectors contributing to some extent to the relative appreciable growth rate for this year. Subsectors that are expected to drive the gross domestic growth rate are information and communication, fishing, and real estate. But the question many have been asking is whether the high growth rate is translating into jobs and improvement in the livelihood of the people. Meanwhile, Nigeria, Egypt, and South Africa will remain first, second, and third biggest economies on the continent. Nigeria's economy is estimated at $466 billion.
Away from that, Ghana received a total of 279 foreign direct investment projects. Now, the added value of these projects is worth $2.7 billion. And this injection was in 2020 amid the scourge of COVID-19. Now, where will all these projects go? We are talking about manufacturing services, building and construction, agriculture, export trading, and information communication services. In total, about 27,000 jobs are to be created. And this comes in the wake of Twitter choosing to establish its Africa Hub in Accra. And of course, Germany also establishing its Africa Research Medical Center in the country. It all boils down to one thing: a favorable business climate. And for that, we speak to the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. And one thing that they say is that the business reforms being introduced are favorable. But how do we improve upon the climate to attract more investment? Frank Ejikum is Executive Secretary of the Ghana International Trade Commission, and he joins us via Zoom. Mr. Ejikum, we're so grateful that he joined us. First of all, with all that's happening, Twitter's presence, Germans hinting of establishing an African Research Center in Ghana, the Continental Free Trade Secretariat, is this a vote of confidence in the country's business climate?
Thank you very much, and pleasure to be with you. Yes, you have said it correctly. It shows a massive vote of confidence in the efforts of government and what is happening in Ghana. The three events that you've spoken about, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area in Ghana, Twitter coming on board, and the German Health Center, shows you that there's something good happening in this country. For foreign investors to come in, it shows that some parameters in your country are good. You have a favorable investment climate. You have rules and regulations that will protect investment and be sure that investors do not lose out unnecessarily. And you have a means that shows that there's transparency and accountability in how you run affairs in the country. And all this will tell you that the government is on the right track, and that's why Ghana is attracting all these positive vibes from abroad.
Interesting. But let's take a look at the factors that attract foreign direct investment and see how Ghana fares along those lines. If we could pull that up, the first one being infrastructure and access to raw material, communication and transport links, skills and wage costs of labor. I want to start off with you on infrastructure and access to raw materials. How are we faring along this particular line?
Well, to begin with, you put this in proper perspective that we operate in a region which is also very deprived. So in that sense, how are we doing? I don't think we are doing badly at all, because all the indicators will show you that when you do put us apart with our neighbors, we must be doing something very good in here. We have laws, and I'm saying that the important thing in all this is that, for instance, access to raw materials. Are there laws and regulations that make sure that investors in these environments are able to have good returns and have their investment protected? Yes, we have laws in mining, in wherever you go to, in oil. We have laws and regulations in there that protect genuine business. And for as long as you are in to do genuine business, there's regulations that the government seeks to protect you and to make sure that even as you make your profits, the government is also able to reap the benefits that it needs for the country's growth. You talk also about communication and transportation. You know that, for instance, this year has been cited as the year of roads. And so massive investment is going to be made in there. Part of I think almost a third of the Eurobond business that came in recently, of the 3 billion, almost a third will also go into transportation in roads, and also a part of it into railways. So all these are efforts being made by government to ensure that our infrastructure development is at par, is commendable.
Great.
At the moment, yes, we have bottlenecks, we have problems. But if you look at the efforts being put in, all the roads being built, all the highways being built, all the interchanges being built in the country, it shows that we are on the right pedestal, which is what is attracting investors into this country.
Let's end on the matter of skills and labor, because over the past few weeks, we've had tussles in this particular spec. Of course, government, there are the concerns about the capping on the minimum wage, of which we do know this week that there's going to be some discussion around this line. But how does this fit into the attraction of FDIs as well?
Well, in terms of labor and skills development, I mean, it goes without saying that our labor force is one of the best on the continent, and certainly in West Africa, we do rank up very high. We do have a very skilled labor force in this country, and in times past, Ghana's civil service have been ranked among the very best on the continent, and worldwide, we're very competitive. When you come down nationally, Ghanaians seem to be very hardworking. I mean, yes, it is true that not everything is up to scratch, but then we are up there, and the hard work that is put in is seen in the results that we have in the economy. We could do more, and nobody's saying that we are perfect yet. In terms of cost of labor and wages, as you rightly said, government, the tripartite committee will be meeting very soon to research this wage problem. But let me say that with wages, everywhere in this world, we have wage problems, some more intense than the others. But then people, as you know, are also aspiring for better living conditions, for better lives. And as we move along, everybody tries to get as much as they can on the labor front. So it's never going to end. There's never going to be a time when we're going to have a labor force that is going to say that we are okay, we have enough wages, and so we don't need any more. At any point in time, workers and people are going to agitate for more income, because that really is the nature of the human being. And so it does happen. We wish that it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And when it happens, the important thing to look at is what steps are being taken to resolve these issues. And as you do really know, when it happens, government does not lie down, and all efforts are done to make sure that we meet the needs as much as government can.
So the prospects are therefore bright. Franco Chikum, we're so grateful that you joined us. He's the Executive Secretary of the Ghana International Trade Commission, helping us understand what exactly is attracting FDIs to the country. Away from that, the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana says it will not relent in the quest to rid the accounting profession of unethical practices. To this end, the Institute says it will continue to name and shame as well as withdraw the certificate of members found culpable. The president of the Institute, Professor Williams Atulik, made this known at the first 2021 graduation and admission ceremony of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana and the 36th since its inception, held at the University of Professional Studies in Accra. Here's more.
Formalized the admission of new members into the fold of the Institute's existing membership and provided a platform to award certificates to those who have qualified after successfully passing all 3 levels of the Chartered Accountants Professional Examinations, whilst others have met the requirements via an assessment of training they had received at equivalent professional accountancy bodies. In an interview with Joy Business, President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, Professor Williams Atulik, says his outfit will continue to apply severe sanctions against members engaged in unprofessional accounting practices.
What we haven't done in the past is to issue out public statements about people we have sanctioned. We've withdrawn certificates, we have suspended people, and particularly those who practice. We've issued all kinds of fines and penalties, so we've been doing that.
So about how many cases are we talking about?
Quite a number. Over the years, we've done quite a number, so it's not just one. We have had to withdraw certificates of quite a number of our members, and we have had to, the case of the practice involved in the banking crisis is immediately comes to mind. So we've done a couple of disciplinary processes.
In all, 425 qualified accountants and 105 chartered diplomats were awarded certificates, whereas 421 new members were admitted into the institute after satisfying specific qualification criteria.
For CA level 3, November 2020 exam basis is
Bela Deborah Azika, a female alumnus of the University of Cape Coast, was crowned the overall best graduating candidate. The latest recognition puts to 2 the number of times Bela has been awarded overall best student at ISAC graduation ceremony. She was the overall best graduating candidate in 2020 level 2. In an interview, she admonished accountants to uphold integrity in their profession.
The Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, our motto is integrity. And I believe if you have that, you wouldn't really go into these things. I don't know the motive for which people do things like that. But what I would say is let's hold that word integrity in high esteem, because what you do when nobody is watching is what matters most. And even if maybe if you're a Christian, you're a Muslim or any other thing, we all believe that there is life after death, right? So even if it's not all about here, there is somewhere else. So what I would say is we should all hold that word integrity and high esteem and try our best. I know it's not easy, but put in the effort, and by the grace of God we can without involving in those activities.
Ernest Ajiman emerged overall best candidate for level 1, whereas Michael Darko emerged the overall best candidate for level 2 in the November 2020 CA professional examinations.
Well, statistics in Ghana has over the years revealed the huge significant value of SMEs to our GDP and employment figures. Small and medium-sized enterprises represent about 85% of businesses and contribute about 70% of Ghana's gross domestic product. However, it is also evident that a vast majority of SMEs fail to be competitive, and 3 out of 5 SMEs fail within the first few months of operation, with an estimated 25% to 40% collapsing within the first 5 years of operations. Well, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, in an attempt to change the narrative, has diagnosed the lack of adherence to proper bookkeeping and modern business management skills as a major factor to this harsh statistic. Daniel Setogbo is a Greater Accra chair of the chamber, and he joins us via Zoom. We're grateful that he joined us, Daniel. How much of a threat does not having bookkeeping pose to SMEs? Daniel, if you could kindly unmute your microphone as we explore how much of a threat not keeping to bookkeeping practices pose to SMEs. Well, we shall try and fix a line for Daniel to give us more on this issue. But away from that, the Minister for Communication and Digitization, Ursula Osu-Akufo, has assured all local creditors of Airtel Tigo that government will ensure that all payment obligations are met. This follows the government's takeover of the company after a successful agreement with mother stakeholders last week. The minister told Joy Business that some commercial loans that have been impacting on the balance sheet of the company have been written off.
Now, the shareholders of Airtel and Tigo have taken, they are not passing on the shareholder loans which they advanced to the company. That's one of the main items which were hurting the balance sheet of the company. So 100% forgiven, more or less. They are not seeking repayment of those loans. There were also some commercial facilities that the company had taken. Key among them was a $100 million facility from Standard Bank. And that is also, the Airtel and Tigo have taken 50% of that facility. So the company is only now saddled with 50% of that liability. These measures also help free the company from the debt burden that it was under. We will use this opportunity to assure all local creditors of the company that we're going to sit down with them and look at ways in which we can assist the company to meet its obligations towards them. Because all those businesses have to all thrive and succeed. And that includes anybody that the company may be indebted to us at this stage. It is still working. So this is not the time for any subscriber to move away from that company.
Well, let's now get back on Zoom to connect with the Accra Chamber of Commerce and Industry over matters regarding bookkeeping by SMEs. I believe that we do have Daniel once again. Daniel, as I was asking, how much of a threat does not having bookkeeping pose to SMEs? Can you hear me, Daniel? I think we're having a mess of a challenge there, but we should try and get him back on for this all-important discussion. But in the meantime, I think we could reconnect with him, Daniel. If you could clearly hear me now, I want to find out from you how much of a threat is most SMEs not adapting to bookkeeping having on their business.
Hello.
You're loud and clear, Daniel. If you could help us understand the exact nature of threat that, not having bookkeeping practices pose on SMEs.
Hello.
I'm afraid we could not reconnect with Daniel there. We're so sorry about that. But moving on, Hollard Life Insurance has partnered with Pan-African fintech company Cassava Fintech and Vodafone to launch a micro-insurance product providing funeral and disability cover to the underserved. The product, called Mi Banobo, offers tailored packages of up to 30,000 cedis funeral and disability cover for premiums as low as 1 cedi. Nashiri Dusu is the managing director of Hollard Life Insurance.
It's a micro-insurance product targeting the mass market. And both formal and informal, as remote as wherever you find yourself. We say that just put aside 1 Ghana cedi a month, or 5 Ghana cedi a month, or a 15 Ghana cedi a month, or a 30 Ghana cedi a month. Yeah. And thankfully, it's made so simple. Remember, I indicated one of the things we realized that contributed to the low penetration is complexity in understanding what insurance policies we have. This is very simple. 1 Ghana cedi will give you 1,000. 5 cedi will give you 5,000 a month. Yeah. and then 10 cedi or 15 cedis gives you 15,000, and then the premier 30 cedis a month gives you 30,000 Ghana cedis. Yeah, and this you can actually extend cover beyond. So Bernard, if you sign on this policy, you can bring your spouse on, and it's same cover across. So if it's you paying, say, 5 cedis for 5,000 cover, you can bring your spouse on, pay another 5 cedi, and then your spouse also have another 5,000. Bring your mom on 5 cedi, your mom has 5,000. You know, bring your in-law on, you know, pay another 5 cedi, and then he or she would have another 5,000. You know. If you look at our purpose, we say we want to enable more people to secure better features. More people to secure better features. And it permeates in every aspect of our operational activity, be it product design, be it service and all of that. It's not limited to the, let's say, middle class, no. So we saw a need in the mass market space, the micro space, and we thought that we have the solution. And we believe that creating better features across board is our responsibility. Yeah? So yes, don't leave out respectfully, the market woman, don't leave out the farmer, don't leave out the fisher food, you know, and the business of insurance. All he needs is his 1 Ghana cedis, his 5 cedis, and his own. You know, the traditional insurance would ask for a little higher premiums than this one. So we are not refocusing, but we are only providing solutions to the mass market as well.
You're still watching The Marketplace. Now, the Coconut Farmers Association of Ghana is calling for increased government support for accelerate efforts to boost local value addition of coconut for export. According to the association, there is a need for coconut farmers to be certified in order to make them competitive on the global market. President of the association, Patrick Ndabia, spoke to Joy Business at a policy review and constitution validation meeting in Accra.
President of the Coconut Farmers Association of Ghana, Patrick Ndabia, says despite its potential to rake in $2 billion in terms of revenue for the country by 2024, the coconut industry is confronted with challenges that include the lack of extension service delivery and, most importantly, funding for investment data development, research and technology.
The global gap certification, if we don't have that certification, it will be very difficult for us to compete the external market, because other countries have that certificate and we don't have. So your produce will not get down to the market, the global market. So we're asking the government to give us that sort of training, and then we'll get that certification so that we'll be able to compete the global market.
Mr. Ndabia is, however, urging Ghanaians to invest in coconut.
Looking at the value additions in coconut production, if I say value additions, now from the roots to the leaves is beneficial. So you look at all these additions, like processing, like a lot of things. So that means it's a valuable crop that is ready to invest money in that. So I'm only drawing the attention of Ghanaians that there is something in coconut. There is gold in coconut. And therefore they should invest their money in coconut production.
On his part, Vice President of the Coconut Federation of Ghana, Kweku Boateng, emphasized the importance of coconut farming to job creation.
Currently, what I would say is there's been a demand supply chain. The local consumption of coconut is so much that people are not really into the export market. And again, there is a gap when it comes to the export of coconut in terms of certification. And this is why it is important that our government and indeed the key players pay attention to certification and then training and capacity building. I believe if you are able to do this, globally Ghana will be very competitive.
The 2021 COFAC policy development document seeks to ensure that coconut production synchronizes with the current national development framework and emerging issues in the agric sector.
Now, the Nigerian community in Ashanti region says some of its members are reeling under economic hardship following the closure of shops. This comes after a task force formed by the government closed about 92 shops in Swami magazine owned by foreigners for violating Ghana Investment Promotion Council laws on retail. Chief Inkem Tony Onyegulu explained that resources of their members are locked in business following the closure. Naya Ojima has more in this report.
For 7 months, shops owned by foreigners, mostly Nigerians, have been locked for non-compliance to retail regulations. According to the government, ample time was given for regularization of their businesses. Nana Kwabna Pepra led the team.
Oh, it's a GIPC Act 128. Oh, it's first out that if you are a foreigner and you want to do retail trading, all what you have to do is that you have to raise an amount of $1 million, or in goods also 1 million. Then you employ 20 people. Then you apply a certificate from GIPC. Then on that certificate, they will give you a location where you can apply your trading.
Affected persons for the period stayed on, hoping for an early reversal, but they say efforts to get the shops reopened have proven futile. Chief Nkem Tony Oniagolu explains members are going through financial difficulty.
They promise us that we will hear from them very soon. But as you can see, things are getting worse. We, the communities here, especially we in Ashanti, our people are dying because of that shop they closed. Some people life service is in that shop. Some people even travel document is there. Their goods, whatever people do, take.
Meanwhile, the leadership of the community wants authorities to consider meeting affected persons for finality. Chief Oniagolu again.
We will be glad to have a meeting with them, conclude on one thing, and that thing will be okay for us, and they will be happy too. I believe we are not here to subdue or to kill or to take over the business from our host country.
Well, that's how we end the marketplace. With me, Charles. I enjoy the rest of our program.